TurboToyzRUs. 6.
Today I'll be working on replacing this sunroof switch with the OEM. This one here was from a different car. Don't know which car they got it from, some Toyota. It's similar, but you can see this unpleasant job of wiring. Look carefully, there's even exposed wire. A major cause for auto fires and so on, and you'll see the unpleasant application of electrical tape. Definitely is going to require me taking down the headliner, at least in the front part. I acquired the switch assembly, got it cleaned up, took it apart here, the plate, and used some soap and water, get off the grease off of it, the dust from the backside here. This is the OEM sunroof switch assembly with the dome light up front. This thing, it opened the sunroof and took me forever to get it closed, so you gotta change this. I guess it may have worked one time, but it's still not up to standard. Sunroof motor. So let's get to it. Yep. Right here will provide sufficient access to get all of this junk wiring down. There we go. Just absolutely horrible wiring. I don't know who did this, but this is horrible stuff, man. Now look at this. This is some kind of control module. It has a Toyota number on it. To help this sunroof open with the alarm. See the original wiring in there. Do a thorough inspection of the wiring. See how far these guys went in there. And it seems like they didn't go further than hacking off this piece. Plug in the main harness there, and everything should work. Okay. Press this at the same time to get this piece here to slide forward in order to shut the sunroof. This bulb seems to be blown. I'm going to test this in a second with my tester to see if when I turn the switch on, there's power coming out. Open it. Right, all the way back. Works. Now in order to close it, you have to press this button here in the middle, and then you'll be able to close it. Once you press this button and get it going, you can actually let go of this middle button. But this middle button here has a locking where it prevents, I don't know, maybe you accidentally closing it. But you have to hold this down to get this closing mechanism going. So there we go. Voila. Our sunroof is working again how it was designed to work. All right, so this here is the one screw or the one bolt goes into here that's gonna hold up the switch, the sunroof switch. It goes in right here. My light is not working on this sunroof switch assembly. After troubleshooting, I recognized that there's ground going into this switch to turn on the light with these two leads on here, but the ground coming out is weak, too weak to light the bulb. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate by just applying ground to the out wire coming out of the switch, and you'll see that the bulb will light up just by that. There, right? And that's me just putting ground to the out wire coming out of the switch. If I put it on the inside, there's on the in wire, nothing. But on the out wire, it lights up. So that shows me that there is good ground going in, but not good ground coming out of this switch. The second thing I had to do, I had to build a bracket. There you can see it. Got my aluminum bar and twisted it, drilled it, threaded it, because first off, I'm missing this screw, and then second, this switch assembly here seems to be slightly bent. So even when I would put my finger here where the bolt is supposed to go, it would still be hanging down in the back. So I built this tiny little bracket, and just with one bolt alone here kind of holds the whole thing up. So this is going to be definitely a piece that is there. The only thing I'm going to cut now is just this piece here where I marked it, to give access to any adjustment that needs to be done to the sunroof. If it's not closing properly all the way, you turn the screw right here and adjust the motor. Or if the sunroof is locked, you can use this here to manually open it if the motor is not working. Now I'm going to pull this switch, see if I can take it apart and maybe clean up the terminal, see if I can get a more significant ground signal to turn my light on and off. It's been sitting for a while. These things do go bad sometimes, so a little bit of improvising, and let's see if we can get it to work again. Okay, so I fixed my problem with the light. It wasn't getting enough ground, and the switch was definitely the problem. I'll show you in a little bit what I took out of it and what I cleaned up out of this switch right here, and I'll show you my light works now. Voila. Okay, it wasn't working before. When you put on the switch, it wasn't working. It was getting ground, but it was a weak ground. So after I applied strong ground to it, I saw that it came on, and the wire going in, bringing in the ground to the switch, didn't make any change when I applied the strong ground to that side. But the wire coming out, as soon as I applied the ground on that side, the light came on. So it showed me that the problem was definitely in my switch. A bracket that I made also to hold right here, good enough to hold the whole assembly up. So this was the old sunroof switch assembly with the light, and I pulled it apart. Here was the switch. This piece here, this comes out of this. There are two little pivots on the side, and they go into these holes on both sides. So to get it out, you have to gently pry these two metal pieces apart. Just pry it on one side and slip this lever out. Okay, after that comes out, what you're going to see is this tiny little plate right here. This tiny little plate makes a seesaw motion. The seesaw motion goes, okay, so when you press the switch, it goes down on here, that's on. You press it, it goes down on here, that's off. Okay, so it's just a simple open and close switch. This little guy here is the one that came out of my switch that's in the original AE86 sunroof switch assembly. This is corroded. It's very hard to tell, but hopefully the camera will be showing it as clear as I can get it. The other one was a pretty clean copper color. This one here, you can see the buildup on it. Also, the contacts in the other one had some buildup on it as well, just like this seesaw piece of copper here. and I cleaned off the contacts on the one I just installed and tested for you, and just installed the other copper, which was in this newer Toyota switch here, and I left this to clean this up after, okay, because they're essentially the same contact pieces. So that's what I did, and my light now works perfectly. Here's my bracket that I built. This is what I use to hold up the sunroof switch assembly. So the top piece goes on one of those 10 bolts that holds up the motor, and after twisting and turning it to get in the right place, the bottom piece here I drilled a hole and then tapped it, okay, so I can use a 10mm bolt to hold up the assembly. So I'm going to reinstall this now and show you guys how it's all put together. Back piece goes in first. You know, the more OEM things that work gives your antique car value. Okay, I like when my stuff works. Yeah, this car is not all OEM, but I like to know that the OEM things on it work, and work pretty simply and effectively.